Now, the newest Obamacare repeal bill has a lot of terrible things in it, from massively cutting funding to healthcare to giving states the ability to waive protections for people with pre-existing conditions. So, again, terrible, right? Now, it would also funnel some of the money from wealthier blue states to poorer red states in the form of block grants. So, wonderful. Now, Republicans are like, oh, no, 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 you don't understand. This gives power back to the states. We're going to give the power back to the states and away from that horrible federal government. Now, that's interesting because one proposed amendment would actually strip states of the power to set up their own healthcare system, especially if that system is single payer. Now, this is an amendment from Republican Senator John Kennedy. Now, and like I said, it reportedly would ban states from setting up their own single-payer healthcare systems. They specifically, ironically, singled that out and said, "Oh, by the way, single-payer, bad. Never want to try it. You don't want to try it. We're gonna stop you from trying it, California." Oh boy. Now wait a minute. As I said, I thought they were for states' rights. Well, apparently not. As you're going to see, this is actually because they're afraid of single-payer actually getting a foothold somewhere. Now, Kennedy told the Washington Examiner that, quote, "I think single-payer system is just a bad idea." Well, hey, like, if you're an insurance company, yes, you would think that this is a bad idea. If you're paid by an insurance company, you would also think that this is a bad idea. But look, and the insurance companies pay people to come out and say this stuff and to vote against this legislation because they know that under a single-payer system, they would be obsolete. Obsolete. This sort of reminds me of, and I know you can more easily make this comparison with, for example, coal or oil, fossil fuels, but I'm going to try to make it with healthcare, so bear with me here. Sort of like a horse and buggy manufacturer trying to block cars, okay? Or, again, in a more recent example, states like New Jersey blocking the sale of Teslas, right? And Teslas, of course, are electric cars that people actually want to go and buy and drive. And the car manufacturer's like, no, we're going to lobby, we're going to buy our politicians to prevent you from selling it here. And in this case, we're going to bribe politicians to not allow us to set up single payer, okay? Basically, the industries are trying to prevent something from eliminating the need for them. And again, with single payer, we don't need private insurance. We can tell the insurance companies to fuck off. Now, Kennedy continues. He says, I think if you give a big chunk of money to California, which, by the way, California pays more into federal taxes than they take out, so it actually mostly would be California's money that they would just be getting back. They're going to go set up a single-payer system run by the state and then come back and say, we don't have enough money. We need more. Really? Well, that's funny because single-payer, one of the big draws of it is that it actually is cheaper in the long run. Why? It's because it gets rid of a very expensive overhead. There's less administrative costs. Current Medicare runs at about a 1.8% cost overhead. And look, part of that is insurance companies right now, they spend so much money on competition, which means they're, you know, basically what that means is that they got to spend money to advertise, right, in order to get their message out there so that people will check them out. So a lot of money on commercials, right? Well, single payer gets rid of that. It also gets rid of executive bonuses. It also gets rid of all ridiculous overhead, paying shareholders. All that's gone. That's why it would be cheaper. And it's also more efficient because you wouldn't need that big corporate bureaucracy. Now, if any state would be able to set up a single payer, and it's been tried before in smaller states with no success because they never did actually pass it. But if any state could actually do it, it's California. Now, California is the 6th largest economy in the world. And again, it pays far more in federal taxes than, say, Kentucky or Alabama. So this is, ironically, this bill, Graham-Cassidy, would be a giant transfer of wealth from richer states to poor states. Okay. Now, I think single payer would work far better nationally than it would locally because the federal government would have more leverage to lower prices to negotiate prices with, the hospitals, doctors, and drug companies. But nonetheless, single payer in California would still be superior to what California actually has now. Okay. Now, his next statement betrays just a little bit, at least in my opinion, fear. He says, I think the only way we're going to solve the healthcare problem in America is through the private sector. I don't think states should have the authority to take money from the American taxpayer and set up a single-payer system. Some people think that's inconsistent with the idea of flexibility. But that's what the United States Congress is for. I very much believe in flexibility, and I know governors want flexibility, but it's our job to make sure that money is properly spent. We want flexibility, but we want to make sure that that money is properly spent. Oh, you mean like basically giving states a free pass with this block grant money to plug their own state budget holes? Or doing things that aren't exactly related to healthcare? That's what block grants allow you to do. They're almost like a free-for-all. But under this system, under this amendment, it would be a free-for-all to do everything except set up a single-payer healthcare plan. The hypocrisy. No. Again, that says that he's super scared. Once people in California have single-payer and they start telling other people about it, oh, it's going to spread. The idea is going to spread, and already it has. Look, that's why the lobbyists, they fought so hard to kill it in Colorado. They fought so hard to kill it in Vermont. Again, industry lobbyists and groups and PACs that represents these giant insurance companies, they spent millions of dollars trying to scare voters away from voting in favor of single payer. But now that's starting to not work anymore. I mean, a larger majority of Americans now want a single-payer healthcare system. And California right now is the closest state to achieving that, even with Anthony Rendon having basically killed their single-payer bill. And he's facing a ton of backlash for that. So, but again, here comes John Kennedy saying, no, fuck states' rights. You will not endanger my health insurance profits. We believe in states' rights when it's there to deny people things, deny people rights. But when when you want to use it to expand rights or expand a benefit to somebody, and I believe healthcare is a human right, he says no. These Republicans come in and they block anything that goes to actually helping regular people. And of course, this shows you that Kennedy is another corrupt corporate Republican bought lock, stock, and barrel by these large insurance companies. That's who John Kennedy is. That's what this is all about. And so that's why he's trying to get this amendment passed into this horrific bill called Graham-Cassidy. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.